Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And it is the God of War Ragnarok launch day. I know, finally, right? Hope everybody's enjoying that game. I'm going to play it myself here soon enough as well, as I did pick it up this morning. Very, very excited about that. But actually, we have yet another PlayStation game to talk about today, as one of their upcoming games did leak out quite early. Actually, looks like way early in this case. Now, I was not expecting this one at all, but it does look like PlayStation is going big into the Horizon IP because they're doing some pretty interesting things with that franchise. So we're going to jump into that one a little later on today. Also, we're going to touch up on some canceled Xbox projects, including, and I hate to say this, Conker. Yeah, it hurts my soul just even saying that, but we'll go over that today as well. As always though, before we get started, if you are new to the channel, do consider hitting those buttons below, like, subscribe, and most importantly, whack that bell as hard as you possibly can. With that said though, you know it, let's just go and jump right into things, starting off with a new Nintendo partnership with DeNA. Now, Nintendo and DeNA already have a tight relationship as they've worked together on multiple mobile games, including Mario, they've worked on Animal Crossing, and even Fire Emblem, but now the two are doubling down as they just announced they've established a joint venture company titled Nintendo Systems. Now, the reason that they're doing this is actually quite interesting, as they say this. The objective of establishing a joint venture. With the integrated hardware-software model at the core of its business, Nintendo also strives to provide enhanced experience and service outside of its dedicated gaming system. In order to provide this experience in a holistic manner, Nintendo is working to maintain and expand its relationship with consumers primarily through Nintendo Account. As a part of this effort, Nintendo entered a business and capital alliance with DeNA in 2015 and has collaborated to develop and operate the new core system centered around Nintendo Account since then. Based on the expertise accumulated over the 7+ years and the experience of co-developing multiple services based on Nintendo Account, Nintendo and DeNA will advance their partnership and establish a joint venture company. With the objective to strengthen the digitalization of Nintendo's business, the joint venture company will research and develop as well as create value-added services to further reinforce Nintendo's relationship with consumers. So from how they're describing this new venture company, it seems like this is actually more tied to Nintendo accounts and not just for mobile games. Now, I'm sure the two are still working on mobile games as well, as they've had a lot of success there, but I look at this and I think that they're looking to find new ways to improve and integrate their Nintendo accounts for multiple devices. Things like mobile phones as an example. And of course, they're also eventually going to have a new Nintendo console as well. I mean, at some point. And one thing that they're probably looking to do is have your account just flawlessly move directly into that new console. They could also make some new mobile apps, as I just mentioned, that could really integrate with your account. Or hey, maybe they can add some new features if they really want to connect with their fans. I mean, one thing that they could do is, I don't know, add an achievement system. I mean, it's only 2022, so maybe we can get that ball rolling at some point. But this is definitely an interesting pairing and could improve user experience overall in the long run. Now, speaking of Nintendo, they did have their Nintendo Indie World Showcase today, and you remember how I said the other day that these events tend to be relatively hit or miss? Well, yeah, I'd say that this time it was more miss than anything else, but they did still showcase 22 different games, with a few that I thought was legitimately interesting. So what I'm going to do here is highlight some of the better games that was at this showcase, or at least in my opinion. The first game being, for you roguelike fans out there, Have a Nice Death. Now, this game is actually already available through early access on Steam, and it's not just a game that looks visually good. I mean, it looks fun, it looks humorous, and I like the art style to it, but it's also been well received with an 85% approval rating on Steam. Now that's always a good sign, especially for an early access game like this. But Have a Nice Death is now officially heading over to the Switch, and it will release on March 22nd of 2023. Now, another game here that I thought kind of stood out was Oni Road to the Mightiest Oni. This one will be available on March 9th of 2023, and it has this really attractive art style to it. You actually play as two different characters simultaneously, one with the right Joy-Con and then the other with the left, and it's supposed to be like this unique action game. It definitely sounds unique, and for that, I think that it does look interesting at the very least, so it might might be worth keeping an eye on, again, when it releases on March 9th. Then you have Rogue Legacy 2, and that is finally heading over to the Switch, and actually, you can pick this one up right now. Yeah, you don't even have to listen to me talk about this one too much because you can go download this one as we speak. And I mean, the first Rogue Legacy game was insanely popular, mixing in a roguelike with a Metroidvania. And if you did like that first game, well, you can now play its sequel on the Switch starting today. They did also give us a release date for Coffee Shop Episode 2. I know a lot of people really liked Coffee Shop as a visual novel, and now you'll get more of that in Episode 2. You'll continue to talk with your many customers, fix coffee for them, things like that, learn about their lives and all that fun jazz, but it will be out sometime in spring of 2023. Then, finally, they also confirmed a release window for Sports Story. Now, there's been a lot of anticipation for this game. It is coming from the same studio that worked on Golf Story, Sidebar Games, which fans, I mean, they absolutely seem to adore that game, and Sports Story? It looks like a legitimate step up from even that. This time around, instead of just being golf, you also have tennis, you have cricket, volleyball, and the list goes on and on and on. I'd say that there's definitely some potential with this one, and the cool thing here is that they did announce that it will release this December. So there you have it, the wait is over for Sports Story. Those were my main highlights for this showcase though, but there was a lot of other games that was announced here, so what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to pin a comment below with all of the games and all of their release dates that was announced. Now, we also got an update for Prince of Persia: Sands of Time Remake. I know we've been hearing about this game for a few years now, but obviously this game has had some problems in development. Fans were not happy with its initial reveal as they didn't like the art style. So after various delays, Ubisoft, they eventually delayed it indefinitely and gave it to a completely different development team. However, Ubisoft here recently has been refunding customers who pre-ordered the game, and because of all of its development problems, this seems to have sparked some speculation that maybe they quietly canceled the game completely. Thankfully, though, that's not actually the case here, as Ubisoft quickly gave us an update by giving Prince of Persia: Sands of Time Remake its very own website where they list information for what they can currently share. As you can see here, it states, state of the game, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time Remake is not canceled. The game is currently in development at Ubisoft Montreal. They then continue on to talk about the release date where they say, at the moment, a new release date has not been set. We will provide new information on that front when we are ready. Then, as for the pre-order cancellations, this is what kind of brought on the speculation in the first place. It says, since the game currently does not have a release date, existing pre-orders have been canceled and refunded where applicable. So there you have it. Yes, they are canceling those pre-orders, but if you are looking forward to this game, the good news here is that it is not dead. Next up, though, let's go and talk about this leak for PlayStation. And the further we've gotten into this generation, the more evident that it's become that Sony is really committing to live service games. They are putting a lot of resources into these type of games. I mean, they acquired Bungie to help out with this initiative. They have Factions from Naughty Dog in development. They've partnered up with both Haven Studio and Deviation Games to work on exclusive live service games. And you can just clearly see that they're pushing hard into these type of games. Well, about that, yet another live service game from them appears to have leaked out online, and this one is quite interesting. So this is coming from the Korean outlet MTM, which claims that Sony and a South Korean-based studio, NCSoft, which is known for the Guild Wars series, have entered into an early agreement to create a Horizon MMO. Now, this is not something at all that I was expecting, but when you actually start to look around, it does make sense. There was actually a job listing from Guerrilla Games posted last year that was looking for a senior game writer with extensive knowledge of stories and narrative design in open-world RPG games, online games, and the keyword here being online MMORPGs. Some of their listings also mention MMO-related terms, so this leak kind of lines up with those job listings from last year. Then you also, again, have to consider Sony's newfound interest in live service games. And as we've seen in games like Final Fantasy XIV, which has had a lot of success on PlayStation, it makes a ton of money. So I think that it is realistic to think that Sony might want their very own MMO where they get all of the money for themselves. I mean, that's one of the reasons that they are doing all these different live service games. I mean, sure, they can make a ton of money off of Fortnite, but if they had their own successful live service game, well, they don't have to share that money with Epic Games. So that seems to be the case here with an MMO as well. And Horizon could actually be a good IP to really capitalize on that. I mean, we've seen other franchises out there kind of do that. Bethesda, they've done it with the Elder Scrolls series as an example. But I think with Horizon, I mean, this is a series that has one of the more interesting settings and worlds in games right now, just in general. So you could easily translate a world like that into an MMO. Now, for me personally, though, I'm not really big into MMOs myself. They do require a real time commitment, but like I just said, when these games are successful, they do tend to be quite massive, and that's what Sony's kind of banking on here. If they have their own successful MMO that can last for years and years, that's also years and years of income for them. It's also interesting that they're bringing in a previously established MMO studio, being NC Soft. So we'll see how all that works out for them. It still sounds like this is years away, but let me know what you all think about this. Would you be interested in a game like this or not? Also, are you happy to see Sony do different things with the Horizon IP? Of course, they just released its sequel earlier this year. I thought that was a great game. You also have Call of the Mountain. That's coming over to PSVR 2 next year. There's rumors of a remake for the first game. I mean, I'm not really sure about that one, but they also have a new film adaptation coming, and now on top of that, reportedly, an MMO is in development. Yeah, a lot of things seem to be happening with this IP, and I mean, Sony seems like they're going all in on the Horizon franchise. So let me know what you all think about all of that in the comments below. Now, there's also a rumor going around of a list of projects that was canceled due to the shuttering of Xbox Entertainment Studios back in 2014. Now, Xbox Entertainment Studios was a movie and film-related studio that was meant to make interactive television content for Xbox using their IP. I actually do like the idea in theory, especially in the year of 2022, where we're seeing a lot of game-to-film adaptations. But back then, they received a lot of criticism for this specific studio, as Xbox seemed just a little too focused on TV, as was made popular during their infamous E3 Xbox One showcase. So, I mean, the studio didn't exactly help their image and was eventually shut down in 2014. But now here we are today, and supposedly, a list of their canceled projects has found their way online. Now, I do want to point out that this list is just a rumor. Nothing about this is confirmed, or at least that I know of at this moment, and it was posted up on 4chan. So do take this with a huge grain of salt. Now, with that said, though, this list of games has been making waves across social media, so I thought we'd at least touch up on it here, and also, I mean, it can just break your heart as it did mine as well. That's because among its canceled projects, it includes Conker's Big Break. Yeah, so supposedly this was supposed to be like an adult cartoon series set after the events of Live and Reloaded. Now, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds absolutely fantastic. Like, honestly, Conker is legitimately one of my favorite games of all time, and it is just so saddening to me that so little has happened with the series since its original release. Now, to be fair, Xbox did do Conker's Big Reunion last generation, which was tied into Project Spark, and I quite enjoyed it, but I really want a full-on Conker game. Now, I do understand how the world works today. It probably would be tough to make a game like this, but I really do. I just love Conker so very much. I've personally actually always really liked the idea of Conker going to different Xbox-based worlds and just having an adventure like that. So in one world, it could be based on Halo, and then in the next, it could be based on Gears of War. Then you have Doom. And I mean, Xbox has so many IP by this point, so I think that could be a really fun experience. Conker is a parody-based game after all, and I think that could be very humorous and a lot of fun. But hey, my dreams, they slowly die, and that's the case here as well, with apparently yet another canceled project, even if it's just a show this time. Now, as for these other canceled projects, a 1 vs 100 sitcom was on this list. There was also a show planned for a Halo esports team, and they were even looking to reboot Crow using Unreal Engine 4. Now, there was also some others on this list as well, but nothing really too much of note. I'll still leave a link in the description below if you do want to check it out for yourself, though. I am curious, however, would you have been interested in a Conker show? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, God of War Ragnarok is finally out. Are you going to pick it up this week? And as you can see here, 23% of you said yes, you absolutely are. 48% said no, while 21% said you are waiting for a sell. So that is a potential of 44% looking to get God of War Ragnarok at some point at the very least. That's actually one of the better results that I've seen in these polls so far. And I know for myself, I am absolutely pumped to play this game. I did pick it up earlier today myself, and just knowing how good that 2018 game was, I am absolutely expecting great things with Ragnarok. Looking through some of the comments, though, I did notice some of you mentioned being excited about some other games for November as well. Instar, as an example, mentioned Too Busy with Sonic and next week with Pokemon. I also saw other comments mention games like Tactics Ogre and Evil West, and that is a thing. November is a very busy month, so sometimes it really is just best to hold off on a purchase because, I mean, sales, they happen all the time. Hopefully, though, for everybody that does pick up Ragnarok this week, I hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully that wait will have been very, very well worth it. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.